Hi everyone, this is video number 9 in my etiquette series, and today I would like to talk about my top 4 tips for giving the perfect gift. Now, gift giving can be kind of stressful. It can be a little bit tough because you have questions about whether or not the person's going to like the gift, what kind of gift I give the person, is it appropriate? So today I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to narrow down and decide what kind of gift you should give somebody. So the questions you need to ask yourself before you give somebody a gift. Okay, so the first thing to consider, and maybe this will take a little bit of the anxiety off, tip number 1, is it really is the thought that counts and not the gift itself. Of course, the gift is important, but the fact that you were thinking about that person and that you thought about them, that they were on your mind, that really is what comes first at the forefront. So maybe that will help you a little bit. Don't worry about whether the gift is the most perfect thing they've ever received. We always put too much pressure on ourselves for that. As long as you really thought about the gift and you gave it from your heart, that is really what counts. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, and this is really related to appropriateness. When you are buying a gift, to find the most appropriate gift for that person, for that occasion, you need to ask yourself these questions. Who is it for? What is it for? And what is the relationship you have with that person that will be receiving the gift? So the first question, who is it for? Okay, who is this person to you? Is it a friend? Is it a colleague? Is it your boss, for example? Is it a neighbor? These are very important questions to ask because there are certain gifts that are going to be more appropriate for a work environment, for example, versus personal gifts for a friend or for a relative or even for a neighbor. So you need to ask yourself that first, and then that will narrow it down what type of gift you should go for. Then what is it for? Okay, this is the second question. You need to ask yourself, what is it for? Because you want to get a gift that is appropriate for the occasion. So for example, there'll be different gifts, like a birthday gift will be a very different gift than, for example, an anniversary gift, a wedding anniversary gift, or for example, a graduation from university. These are all very different gifts, and depending on what the event is, it depends on what kind of gift you should be giving. And the third question you need to ask yourself is, what is your relationship? So even in more depth than who is it for, what is your relationship with that person? So for example, I have a very good friend of mine who's a neighbor. She's a very close friend of mine. So the gift that I give her versus, for example, a neighbor that maybe I don't know particularly well, they're both neighbors, so that's who it's for. But my relationship with them is very different. And so I need to ask myself, what kind of gift would I give somebody that's very close to me, it's a very good friend, and also my neighbor? So you need to ask what your relationship is, because that will determine the appropriateness. Me giving a very grandiose gift to somebody that I don't know very well, or that's just a casual friend, may not be taken that well, because they'll think, why is this person giving it to me? Of course, they're going to be very happy to receive it, but it causes a lot of questions. So to eliminate that, you want to just ask yourself that question. Tip number 3, budget. Okay, so of course budget is important when you're choosing the gift to buy for somebody else, because you need to buy within your budget. Giving gifts is a wonderful feeling, and if it's within your budget, it's even a better feeling because you have respected your budget. But it's not just about your personal budget, it's about the purpose as well. So what is the purpose of this gift? Because there's a budget that should go with it. So for example, like if you are giving a gift to a colleague, for example, in a work situation, there's probably a budget for that. If you give, again, a very grandiose gift to, let's say, somebody in your office, it may be misconstrued and taken in the wrong way because you really gave a very expensive gift when really maybe it wasn't so appropriate for an office gift for an event, for example. My bonus would be, when you are giving gifts, please take into consideration allergies that people may have and lifestyle. So allergies could be to flowers, for example. So when you are sending people flowers, it's kind of a risk if you don't know them very well. But if you're afraid to send them, be very, very aware of which flowers maybe have more allergies to when you're sending flowers, for example. Or if you really don't want to take the risk at all, you could always send something else like a dessert or cookies, or bring some soaps or things like that instead of sending flowers, or send something else that maybe would have less risk of allergies if you don't know the person well. And lifestyle. So in the Middle East especially, people do not necessarily drink. So be very careful about sending alcohol or bringing alcohol to an event. If you're not sure, it's better to not do it. So there are a lot of other options that you can send instead. Okay, and here's my bonus tip. My bonus tip is you should always try to keep a couple small gifts on hand just in case for those surprise situations. So for example, if somebody comes over your house and you weren't expecting them to come and you find out it's their birthday, or you need to go to a dinner party really last minute and you've not had a moment to go buy anything, keeping things like soaps, chocolates, candles, hand creams, things like this in nice packaging, wrapped really well, are wonderful gifts to bring when you need a gift last minute. So there are my top 4 tips for giving the perfect gift. I hope you found it helpful. I will do a video on examples of really good gifts for specific occasions later, but this idea of this video was just to kind of filter down the process of your thinking. When you're giving a gift, what do I need to think in order to filter down and find the perfect gift? So I hope this was helpful. Please share with anybody that you think would find this helpful. And please, as always, leave me your comments. Thank you so much.